Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another session of Singapore International Dynamic Speakers. Today we have a very festive meeting planned for you all. Today I want to talk to you about first impressions. What's the first impression you make on people as you meet them? What's the first impression you get of individuals as you meet them? Oftentimes, our first impression dictates the start of our relationship with someone. They often say you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So you should always make that first impression count. What energy do you project? Are you a welcoming person or are you a threatening person? Are you a confident person or are you a shy, reserved person? What is the first impression individuals have of you when you meet them? And what is the impression you want them to have of you as they meet you? Do you want to be perceived as shy and reserved? Or do you want to be perceived as confident and bold? You must craft your self-image to meet the first impression that you want others to have of you. When you meet someone, it is advisable not to share too much of yourself too quickly. It is advisable not to dominate the conversation. It is always best to listen to what others have to say as opposed to dominating the spotlight. You want to be perceived as a kind, considerate person. You also may want to be conceived as someone who takes the bull by the horn. So don't be afraid to express yourself. Don't be afraid to take charge or offer assistance where you can. Remember, you want them to have the impression that you want them to have the impression of you that is most in line with who you are. That is the key. When you make a first impression, make sure you are putting your best foot forward. Remember, always be smiling, always be kind and courteous. That is how you make a great first impression. Toastmasters and guests, today's theme is first impressions. When you met your husband, what was your first impression of him? What was his first impression of you? When you met your wife, what was her first impression of you? What was your first impression of her? When you went for your first job interview, what was the impression they had of you? What was the impression you wanted them to have of you? Take a moment, reflect on that. Are you at all time putting your best foot forward? Or do you let fear and uncertainty diminish who you really are? Remember, smile and be confident in yourself. Today's table topic team will be much in line with our team, first impressions. And as always, you have 2 minutes, give or take 30 seconds to do your impromptu presentation. When you're doing your impromptu presentation, remember to greet your audience in descending order. The highest ranked person in the room through to the guests. At your office, it might be the CEO, the general managers, supervisors, and staff. Here at Toastmaster, it's the president, Toastmaster of the evening, table topic master, Toastmasters and guests. And the reason we greet in descending order is because it's important for us to know who is in the room. Who are we speaking to? It is crucial for you to know your audience at all times. When you open your presentation, do attempt to draw your audience in with a declarative statement, a rhetorical question, or a quote or a phrase, something to catch their attention, something to draw them into your presentation. And in the body of your presentation, state your point clearly. Support your point with state your position clearly and support your position with two or more points. And in your summary, summarize your position and your points. It seems like a lot, doesn't it? I have to do all that in 2 minutes, give or take 30 seconds. Well, the best way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. So today you might want to work solely on your greeting or your opening, or maybe you have mastered all that and you just want to work on your conclusion. Take it one step at a time. Work on your greeting, then your opening, your body, and your conclusion. We meet every Friday, so you have multiple opportunities to perfect your presentation. Again, you will have 2 to 2 minutes and a half to do your presentation. And with that, let's get started with the table topic session. As I said, the table topic session will be for 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the 1 minute mark, you will be shown the green indicator notifying you you're at the 1 minute mark. At the 1.5 minute mark, you will be shown the yellow indicator notifying you that you are at the 1.5 minute mark. And at the 2 minute mark, you will be showing the red indicator notifying you that you have 30 seconds to wrap up your presentation. We have 18 questions. And because we are few in numbers, that means multiple speaking opportunities. To get the ball rolling, I will ask our very own Toastmaster, Angela Lansbury, because we have 2 Angela with us tonight, Angela Lansbury, to pick a number.
I would like 6, please.
Tell us, Angela, what are your first thoughts seeing this image?
My first thought is this lady has a smile. This lady has 3 or 4 good things about her. First of all, the smile. It's a yellow smile. Yellow is a modern popular color. I think long ago it wasn't so popular, but it's become the color of the smile. Secondly, she's wearing a mask, so she is protecting herself and the people around her. She's got blue eyes like me. So I think she might be a Caucasian, so she's a visitor if it's in Asia. What else can I say about this lady? Now, I don't see her eyes particularly smiling. Perhaps I'm not looking carefully enough. We have to rely on the mask nowadays to tell us she's smiling. I don't have a mask like this. I think I must get one or make one, because I've only got black masks and pink masks and blue masks. And I have a blog on fashion. So I think I must go looking for a smiley mask. But she could go one further. She could have a mask which shows her own photo on it. Now, if you're really handy and you can't print one, you could draw a caricature of yourself on a white or pale mask. What a thought. I might try that. So, to sum up, this lady makes a good start to our session because she's doing what Edward told us to do. She is smiling. She is looking after us. She is protecting everybody around her with a mask. We don't know if she's smiling underneath the mask, but she wants to tell us that she's smiling and to make us smile back. A good start. Thank you for that, Mr. President, and Mr. Topics Master, back to you.
Excellent job, Angela. Excellent job. And For our second speaker tonight, Toastmaster Mike, can you select a number?
I prefer 6.
Angela just picked 6.
Oh, okay. I have the maybe 16.
16. Your first start seeing this image.
Wow. First thought, this image. Okay. Hello, fellow Toastmasters. This Edward show me a friendly picture. When I was little young, I have a friend. Her name is Juicy. We always share any food together, even we are not come from one family. But I like to share anything I like. I have to her, and she like share anything she have to me. And we have a good relationship. Even when we grew up, we still have the truly relationship. Even like sometimes like one family member. So I think if you make a friend when you are young, maybe the friend will become forever. That's my imagine. Back to you, Edward. Thank you.
Well done, well done. Friendship made in childhood lasts forever. And now, Chris Hendra, pick a number.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. President and Angela and fellow Toastmasters and guests. I would like to pick number 5.
Your first start seeing this image.
So, I thank you for sharing this image with me. The image sets the tone of my day absolutely right. The impression it gives is that the person shown in the image is always running against the time and always trying to make up for things and always having the long end of the stick. So I feel that you have to manage yourself correctly and manage yourself without stress, because office deadlines are critical, but your health is critical too. Thank you.
Well done, Cassandra. We must all learn to manage our time well.
I have a question. Do we have to like make a story, or do we have to describe the image? Like whatever comes to mind.
Yes, you can make a story or you can describe the image.
Okay, thank you.
Edward, are we voting? If so, we need in the chat box a quick note of the question and the person, as well as the timer. I know you're timing. So let's look at the chat box. And so first speaker was Angela on smiling mask. Second was Mike. What was Mike on? I know it was question 16 because I did 6. What
It
was
was Mike spoke on the
ice
sharing.
cream?
Yes, correct.
Sharing ice cream and friendship. The third speaker was Krishnendra, whose subject was
Deadline.
deadline. That's good, you made it succinct. I would have said running against time.
Yeah, running against.
So deadline. So 3 Krishnendra deadlines. Okay, so I put that in the chat. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see.
Okay,
Okay. Well, Angela, it's your turn again.
what happened to Angela Lee?
She may have lost connection.
Ah, okay, me again. Number 3, please.
Tell us your first thought.
A sweet shop. A sweet shop. I'm trying to avoid sweets. And I read that in Sweden, since World War II, they only eat sweets on Saturdays. And they have sweet shops and they go around and they buy masses of sweets. They eat huge amounts of sweets, but only on a Saturday. And the result is they have perfect teeth. And the moral is, I can eat as many sweets as I like, but only on a Saturday. And the other thing I read this week was that somebody has invented a birthday cake, which instead of being a cake which is sweet, is savory. So the national dish of Singapore is chicken rice. So you have a cake made of rice. So it's a mound of rice with a flat side and a flat top, if you like that shape. And then it has the chicken in the middle, and then tomatoes and bits of sliced cucumber making a pattern, and happy birthday in the middle. So for those who don't like sweets, they can have a savory birthday cake. So there is an alternative to this overdose of sweets. Either eat them only at the weekend or give up sweets on cakes and have a savory cake. And then you won't get late onset diabetes, which I want to avoid because my father had it. So I want to go on eating sweets until I'm old or older, but only on Saturdays. Thank you.
Well said. We must practice self-control at all times, especially when it comes to eating sweets. Well done, Angela. Angela Lee?
Yes, are you talking to me? I thought you were talking to another Angela. So what is the question?
We need you to pick a number.
Oh, number 1.
Number 1. Tell us your first thoughts when seeing this image. Angela Lee? Angela Lee, are you there?
She's muted.
And her camera is off. Okay. We'll come back to Angela Lee.
Edward, I think it's time you did one. Shall I pick a number for you?
Sure.
I picked 10.
You pick 10. Who wouldn't want to be as free as a bird soaring through the skies? Toastmasters, guests, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I would love to be a bird, to be able to fly freely to wherever I would like to go. Wouldn't you like to be a bird? You can fly to the beach, you can fly up to the mountains, you can perch on top of a roof, or you can perch on top of a tree. You can scoop down and catch a fish from the river, or a rodent running in the field. You don't have any worry in the world. Wouldn't that be the life? To be a majestic eagle soaring through the skies? How often do you get stuck in traffic? If you take public transportation, how often is it late? It's not on time. You're running late. But if you were a bird, wouldn't you be able to fly to wherever you needed to be? Wouldn't that relieve some anxiety and stress? And if you were a bald eagle, a majestic bald eagle, wouldn't you be revered amongst all birds? Isn't that the life? Oh, what I wouldn't give to be a bird. So Toastmasters and guests, I invite you all to be like an eagle and soar freely through the sky.
Yeah, I'm sorry, my computer is not working, so I just come in from my phone.
That's great, Angela. That's great. Yeah, no problem.
Sorry.
Well, no problem. Well, it's your turn again. You can pick a number.
Number one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pick number one. Okay.
Yes, number one. Tell us your first thought when seeing this image.
Oh, I think I can see a couple. They are celebrating their anniversary together, and they are wearing cutie hats, and they just like because their outer appearance are just the same. So I think they are a good partner, especially in front of them. There is some birthday cake or some anniversary cake for celebration. I think this is a good idea because we can see that even animals, they can, celebrate their anniversary or their birthday party. I think nowadays animals are also very clever. They will celebrate, to have celebration, to have a happy time. So we human beings should be more creative and celebrate our maybe anniversary, maybe our graduation or what have you. But I like these two dogs because they are very good, and I like them. And they are just looking the same. I think their facial expressions are the same, and they are wearing the hat and doing the same, body language. So I think this is a very good picture, and it's also very cute and make me laugh. And I really, if I have these two dogs, I would be very happy. Thank you.
Well done, Angela Lee. We must find time to celebrate the small things in life. Chris Hendra, pick a number.
Number 3.
Number 3. Angela already did this one. I apologize. Can you pick another number?
So that gentleman, was it number 5? Number 4?
You want number 4? There we go. Tell us your first thought seeing this image.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So sometimes life throws us peanuts, and sometimes we are at the crossroads of life. We either choose the good thing or the bad thing. So what appears to be good can lead us to nowhere sometimes, and what appears to be worse at the starting can lead us to good times. You just have to take a leap of faith and move on and figure out life yourself, and things will happen, opportunities will come your way. Thank you.
Well done.
This
We
was a very-
must.
No, this was very impromptu. I mean,
You did great. You did great. You spoke on the image. You did great. Okay, Mike, go ahead and pick a number, please. You're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I will like to pick 11.
Tell
Wow.
us your first start seeing this image.
Yeah. It's interesting. I all choose the young young people on the pictures. Okay. Hello to fellow Toastmasters. Today is a lucky day for me. I'm visiting air show in Singapore, and night I have a wonderful meeting in Edward's meeting, and she gave me some topic to choose. I am lucky choose two kinds of familiar pictures, make me some imagine in my mind about the friendship between girl and boy. When when we are young, we are always show the actual feeling. We never hit some dangerous emotion inside, so we can open our heart, and we can make friends all understanding to enjoy enjoy everything. So I think if every country everywhere make a good environment for children to grow up, that must make the world become make the world become wonderful. That my thought at the first imagine. Back to you, Anwar. Thank you.
Well done. Well done. We must make the world a safe place for children. Okay. Angela Lansbury.
Number 7, please.
Tell us your first start seeing this image.
The little boy is thinking of his friend. We can see his happy expression and the heart around her. And the question is, how many friends do you have from long ago? My son had a little friend at nursery school. He told her he loved her. They grew up. He didn't marry her. However, when he got married, she came along with his husband, who was the witness to the wedding. So this was a lifelong friendship dating back all that time. And her mother became my friend and is still my friend now. So you can make friends as children and bring your parents together, which is a wonderful thing to have friendships that go back all that way. You know, people just like you because they like you, not because of anything you've done. They just like your face, your voice, they feel comfortable with you. Friends that go back to childhood or your children's childhood, those are friends you feel comfortable with. What a lovely thought. Back to you, Table Topics Master Edward.
Yes. Friendship that goes back to childhood are always the best. Okay. Chris Hendra.
My turn seems to be coming too quickly. What happened to Mike and Lee Angela?
Oh, yes, we'll get to them too. Don't worry.
Yeah, bring it on. No worries.
All right, go ahead, pick a number.
I'll pick number 18.
18. Tell us your first thought seeing this image.
Good evening, Mr. President, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So this is again a very reflective kind of an image, and it reminds me of my childhood, which was spent most of the time studying. So now studying is a good habit, but now the pattern of studying and the way people study has changed. Like the traditional copybook style of studying has changed to a tablet kind of a study during this pandemic. I see my niece all the time on the tablet and on the laptop studying and making notes. So today's children have become smarter. We were doing our best with the table and pen, but of course it remains evergreen and it is here to stay. And I still love my copy and pen and I make notes in the traditional way. So back to you, Edward, for your thoughts.
Excellent job, excellent job. We all remember studying with our notebooks and papers. And as you rightfully pointed out, children today have laptops and tablets to do their studying on. Excellent job, Chris Hendra. Mike, go ahead and pick a number.
Okay. Maybe I pick the last one, 18.
Chris Hendra just picked 18.
Oh,
17.
Back to the last one, 17.
Tell us your first thought seeing this image.
Okay. Yeah. Hello to fellow Toastmasters. This picture show me one speech maybe made the first speech on the stage. So even his child, he still felt nervous and feel maybe when he want to make a speech, because it's his first time, so he want to overcome her nervous, and she want to make a visualization in his mind. So he express on her face look like watch a horror movies that maybe can make he excited. When you're excited on something, you will forget the nervous, and you can make a fluent and speak what you want to see. So sometimes if you feel If you feel nervous on a stage, you just make yourself crazy and you maybe can make it better. Then you are calm. That's all. Back to Edward. Thank you.
Excellent job. Excellent job, man. Yes, we all get nervous from time to time. So we all can relate to this young man.
I think I can speak because my phone is okay now.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
just in time because it's your turn again.
Okay, it's my turn.
Yes. Can you pick a number?
Any number that has not spoken.
Okay, I will give you number 30.
Okay, 20.
Oh, tell us your first start seeing this image.
Oh, yeah. I think when we are young, we have a lot of fantasy. When we are old, then we would like to have a company with us. From this picture, I think I'm very happy to see that both these old people, they are holding hands and, you know, leaning towards each other and having a sweet time. So although looking at this picture, maybe the timing will be very short for them, but they still love each other and they would like to talk each other daily and enjoy each other's company. I think life is amazing when we have a person or a partner who love us and share with us the happy moment, and then our life will be worth living. And from their from this picture, I can see both of them enjoy each other's company. So I think this is a lovely picture. So the table topic master chose a very nice topic for us to share because we will all facing aging sooner or later in our life. And then when we reach that age, when we are still holding hands with our partner, I think this is a wonderful moment. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent job. Going from our time when we were young, we fantasize about growing old with that special someone. Excellent job. Regrettably, we are at the end of the table topic session. Fellow Toastmasters, I commend you all for doing an exceptional job. You all remember to greet your audience in descending order. I commend you on that. We all open our presentations with an inviting quote or phrase. I commend you all for speaking on what may have been a fun but challenging table topic session. Getting an image and being able to speak ad hocly on that image is challenging, but it gives you the opportunity to grow. So I commend you all on a job well done. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we are at the end of the table topic session. We will be taking a 10-minute break and we will return with the prepared portion of our meeting. Welcome back, Toastmasters. We are now proceeding to the manual presentation portion of our meeting. Today we have 3 speakers. We have our very own Angela Lansbury, our very own Toastmaster Mike, and Toastmaster Chris Hendra. To get the ball rolling, our first presenter will be none other than Toastmaster Angela, who is an avid blogger, a published author, and an English teacher. Toastmaster Angela's project today will be speaking professionally. Prepare to speak professionally. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice developing and presenting longer speeches. The member will deliver an engaging keynote speech. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any other style the member chooses. The member should demonstrate excellent presentation skills and deliver competent content. The speech is not a report on the content of the prepared speech or prepared to speak professionally project. So Angela will be doing an 18 to 25-minute speech, and her speech title is Your Best Business English. Best Business English, Angela Lansbury.
Thank you very much, President Edward. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, when you go to a foreign country, the first people you meet in your hotel are the receptionist on the hotel desk, and then usually the person in the restaurant or the person in the shop. And then on the next day, you go to the office and you meet the receptionist in the office building. All these people are ambassadors, and you are the ambassador for your country. What's the first thing you have to do as an ambassador for your business or yourself, or even when you meet somebody on the plane? Your first job is to introduce yourself, to say what you want and what you can do for the other person. For example, your name. You must have had the experience when you speak to somebody on the phone, you're ringing your bank or some important company, and you are put through to a receptionist in another country, and you're not even sure that you got through to the right company because you're ringing a company in China and the person who answers is clearly speaking to you with an Indian accent. And this confuses you no end, especially if they don't say the name of the company clearly. Now, for example, if you are ringing Marks and Spencer's, you expect to hear Marks and Spencer's, not Marks and Spencer, because people know their own company name and they say it very fast. Similarly, with your own name. Now, I know my name is Angela Lansbury, and I have to say it slowly because there are two Angelas in this meeting. And if I'm not careful, you will be addressing the wrong Angela and sending us both messages meant for the other person. So names are important. The name of your company and the name of yourself. You've got to say them slowly and clearly. Now, another very interesting thing which I was told about hotel reception staff, I'm going to deal with pronunciation, vocabulary, grammar, and etiquette. But etiquette is the thing that excites me. I've written books on etiquette. And the story that comes to my mind, etiquette, the word comes from ticket, which was the ticket you got when you went to the court of the king or the queen, and it told you how you should dress and how you should speak. Just as Edward today told us we should start by addressing the president, the most important person. Similarly, when you go to an office, you take your business card, and particularly in Asia, you present it with both hands, because that is the polite way to do it, as if it's an important object, and you take the card you're given with both hands and you read it, because the other person's name is important. And the receptionist wants to know who she should introduce you to in her company. So she needs to read the card and check who you are, what level you are, and what sort of person you should be introduced to avoid offending you or wasting your time. Now, the etiquette is very interesting. It depends on your personality and the country. For example, I used to have trouble as a freelance journalist getting through to speak to the editor. A lot of people have trouble getting through to speaking to a doctor. There's what is known as a gatekeeper. That's the person on the switchboard who has to decide where to put you through to. The important thing is not to tell your life story to the first person you speak to if you're going to be introduced to somebody else. So if you ring up Marks and Spencer's, they want to know, do you want to be put through to the electronic department, the customer care department, the complaints department? What is it about? And you similarly want to know if you are speaking to the switchboard or the personal line of the person you want to speak to. That is why it's helpful to introduce yourself with your title. So you might say, Marks and Spencer's switchboard. And then you might say, how can I help you? Which department, please? Now, when you are in a hotel reception, I had the experience of going to a hotel in Spain, and the hotel receptionist didn't speak a word of English. And I didn't speak enough Spanish to tell her that we wanted a room. So we were standing there and we were trying all our languages. And at that time, I didn't speak Spanish. Good evening. Bonsoir, which is French. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Do you speak German? We were getting nowhere. It took us about 10 minutes and we got out our dictionary and we started to explain. She then produced a form which she had in the drawer, which had everything in 5 languages. I would like a room. I would like a meal in the restaurant. If only she had produced that at the very beginning. What a pity she wasn't taught to speak 1 or 2 foreign phrases such as, do you speak English? Just a moment, un momento. And then produce the form and shown it to us. I'm now trying to learn languages. It's very important to speak languages. I was told by somebody that he spoke very little of a foreign language. I'm not sure whether it was Chinese or Cantonese, whether it was Mandarin or Cantonese or another Asian language. He said he knew enough to work out what they were saying, whether they were insulting him, whether they were going to charge a different price, but he didn't let on that he understood what they were saying, because he couldn't hold a proper conversation in their language, but he knew if they were trying to cheat him or to negotiate or to lower the price. So that was really helpful. And you want to know what to say. Now, twice in my life, I've been in real trouble overseas. Once was in China. I came down the mountain slowly, and when I got to the bottom of the mountain, none of my group, not one person was there, just a Chinese girl who wanted to sell me postcards. And I said, where is my group? Where is my coach? And she didn't know. So I turned right and I ran down the hill, and I couldn't see a coach, and I ran further and there was nothing but trees, and I ran further and there was nothing. I didn't know what to do. I could have walked for miles. I walked all the way back till I saw her, and she still tried to sell me postcards, and I burst into tears. She beckoned to me and I followed her. Round the corner in the other direction was a huge car park with all the coaches, but I had not known how to say to her, I am lost. Where is my group? I speak English. Help me. Where is the bus? I still don't know that, but I'm trying to learn. Now, a few tips for you. Pronunciation. Chinese and Japanese are staccato. I learned that when I went to Korea And I learned to say hello, goodbye, and thank you, which I thought would be polite. And when I said it, everybody laughed at me. I was really worried. I thought I'd said a rude word. When I got back, I said to my Japanese friend Yukiko, when I was in Korea, everybody laughed when I spoke Korean. Do you know why? Ah, yes, she said. Why did they laugh? I asked. Because Japanese is very all on one tone. You speak up and down like a singing song. So it's like Welsh. Now in Welsh, they all talk like this and they go up and down. And it sounds ever so funny if you are from London and you meet somebody from Wales and look you, they always talk like this, boy, you. Very funny. So now I knew what made it sound funny when I spoke Japanese, and I learned that when I said Hiroshima, it should have been Hiroshima, more or less. Now, if you're speaking English, listen to people like me speaking and hear the way they speak. Listen, morning, welcome. Very often, the emphasis is on the first syllable. French is the opposite. Ici, madame, bonjour. The French emphasize the second syllable. The British emphasize the first syllable. That will transform your English. So you don't say welcome. That tells me you're Singaporean or Chinese. You say welcome. You don't say good morning. You say good morning. Then I know that you've learned from an English speaker. Listen to people speaking good English. Where can you listen? Sherry Sue, who won the world champion of public speaking, I think she came second. She spent 2 years learning English from nowhere to being fluent. Every morning, she listened to Friends, and she had it on with Chinese subtitles, but she repeated everything they said. And she did this every day for 3 hours every morning. By the end of 6 months, she knew the whole series off by heart, and she could pronounce it perfectly with an American accent. Now, when I did one of my workshops in English and French, the most popular part of my speech was a quiz when I took English and American words. I'll give you some clues. How many of you know the English word is autumn? Can somebody tell me what the American would be? I'm sure Edward knows. Can you unmute Edward? What's the American for autumn?
For autumn, it's fall.
Fall. Right, did you know that, Mike? Unmute, please.
Yeah. Your autumn and fall.
Autumn is English, American is fall. Now.
Oh, I think same. Fall and winter.
Yes. Now, the other important one, if I go into a shop in England and I ask for a pair of pants, do I mean something for a man to wear with his shirt, or do I mean underwear? In England, pants are underwear.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You know
I
me
went
very
into
well.
an American department store and I said, "Do you have any pants?" And the assistant showed me what I call trousers. And I said, "You have pants?" She said, "Yes, they're over there." And I
Yes,
found I could
trousers.
see pants. I also listened to a speech when somebody talked about walking in the rain and having wet pants. I was in hysterics because to me, wet pants are wet underwear. And what he meant, what the British call wet trousers. I was a judge. So be careful with your vocabulary. It's very easy to go online and look up American words and English words. There are books and books and books of American English, and there are websites. I've done some myself on one of my websites, one of my blogs. I often do a post on American English. So if you put Angela Lansbury, author, if you just put Angela Lansbury, you'll get the actress, because there are 14 of us. There are 2 authors, 1 world famous actress, and about 10 others. So to get me, you want Angela Lansbury, poet or author or blogger, and then you might get me. And it's on blogspot.com, and you can look up American English, and I've got lots of lists. Now, another thing to look out for, as we're speaking now in Singapore, is Singlish. One thing I'd like to tell you about is off and on. People in Singapore say off your camera and on your microphone. English people don't understand that. We say turn on and turn off. Also, I was asked in the community centre, please off the light. I thought they meant carry off the light. So I was looking around, expecting to find a standard lamp, and I couldn't find one. Eventually they said the switch is on the wall. Oh, I said, you mean turn off the light? Yes, they said, off the light. You see, you've got to be clear to British people, not talk Singlish, because they don't understand it until they've been here 20 years, like me. When they've just arrived, they don't understand Singlish. Singlish. Pronunciation. Let's come back to pronunciation. Teams and themes. I went to a meeting and they said, Angela will introduce the team. I didn't know the team, I'd never met them. What they meant was Angela will introduce the theme. I knew what the theme was. I didn't know who the team members were. And then, Edward, this is you. Edward gave a table topic. He said to somebody who was in the army, I want you to tell us when you feel gratitude, should you give thanks? And the man in the army was thinking, I give a tank. I don't have the authority to give a tank. Edward meant thanks, not tanks. I didn't like to say anything, but after a minute, I unmuted myself and I said, the question is, when you feel gratitude, will you give thanks? Edward knows this. Edward can speak perfectly correctly, but he speaks very fast. And he knows that I will understand it, but people whose English is a little bit wavery can get confused between tanks and thanks. So be very careful to pronounce the word exactly as it is said. So teams and themes, tanks and thanks. Pilots, pilot planes. Pirates point guns and they capture ships. So this is your pilot speaking. Pilot, la 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 la, is the man who is taking your aircraft to land. And he wishes you a pleasant flight, not a present fright. I don't want a fright on an aeroplane. I'm frightened enough as it is, especially if the pilot can't speak English. How will he communicate with the tower? So, to sum it up, what can you do to learn perfect English? You can listen to friends to learn American English. You can watch an English film such as My Fair Lady to learn good English. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. It's a song they sing. You can listen to BBC English and pick up BBC English. You can read about Americanisms. You can read a book on Singlish. You can read my blogs on Americanisms, and you can keep coming to Toastmasters and practicing your pronunciation and your wonderful English. We look forward to seeing you at Singapore International Dynamic every week and getting better and better every week. Wish you every luck in the world. Thank you. Back to our President, Edward Young.
Excellent, excellent, excellent job, Toastmaster Angela. I was so engrossed with your presentation that I forgot to indicate the time accurately to you. I caught it at the 20-minute mark exact, and you were able to wrap up well within the 22-minute mark. You had 17 seconds remaining. Excellent, excellent job, Toastmaster Angela. I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. Now for our second presentation this evening, it will be done by our very own Toastmaster Mike, who is an electrical engineer who works for a company that provides services to the airline industry. Toastmaster Mike enjoyed playing basketball when he was young, but now he prefers tennis. Today, his presentation will be about the Beijing Winter Olympics. Toastmaster Mike, the Beijing Winter Olympics.
Yeah, it's my ground. Hello, everyone. Hello to fellow Toastmaster and guests. Recently, every country people focus more on Beijing Winter Olympics because they are famous champion made by a girl from America. Her name is Eileen Gu. But he was born in America and his father come from America. But she said she decided to compete for Chinese in the oncoming in the 2022 Olympic Winters. Actually, this is an incredibly tough decision for Eileen Gu to make. But I want to say for the world, you do something, you depends on your opinion. That's important. Even some outside pressure on you, you still stick to do something you like. that can make you happy, or you make you um, um, make you having the vision and the belief in yourself. That's the important thing. So this year, the Beijing Winter Olympic, more attract people around the world. I I celebrate for Eileen Gu do something she wants, and lots of people want to make their children to learn sprints from Eileen Gu. I think that's the best thing for Olympic experience. Make people feel something they want to get, and they work hard and get it. That's the good experience for everyone. So I think everyone must have a dream, and you just do it with hard work. No worry about about other things. Focus on your love. You will successful. That's my topic. Back to you, Edward. Thank you.
Well done, Toastmaster Mike. Well done. We must not let obstacles prevent us from pursuing our dreams. Well said. And now for our final manual presentation this evening, we will be hearing from our very own Toastmaster Chris Hendra. Toastmaster Chris Hendra is a journalist working in the news reporting section of his company, and he will be on TV shortly, which is why he's with us here at Toastmasters, perfecting his craft. Today, we will hear all about Toastmaster Chris Hendra. Toastmaster Chris Hendra, you're mute.
You're muted.
That's the most happening word in COVID. Unmute yourself. So thank you, Mr. President and fellow Toastmasters. I have been, am I audible?
Yes, but
Yeah,
what
yeah.
is your title of your speech?
So I'm continuing the icebreaker topic on demand. This is the part 2 of the icebreaker I did last week. So we'll be continuing with the icebreaker. I was told to craft a proper message. So I'm trying to craft a proper message and in an impromptu format. I have not prepared much, but I wanted to try.
But what's the title of the speech?
So, I mean, for introductions, what can be the title? I think I want to, my theme would be life as a plan. So
Life has a plan, right.
So just take a leap of faith and keep moving.
Life has a plan. Or keep moving. Which do you want?
Life as a plan.
Life has a plan. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Okay. So good evening, Mr. President, Angela, and fellow Toastmasters. Thank you for this opportunity. I'll be continuing the icebreaker from last week. So as we were talking last week about my journey so far in life, so it has been a roller coaster. As I told you last week that I had a very happening childhood. I visited a lot of places. I saw places across India, but my growing up in college was a little dull in comparison. So life, as they say, is full of contrast. So today I will dwell on the specific areas of why my college life was dull and how there is always a life at the end of the tunnel. So basically, after moving from school, I had a very mundane college life. Because I was a chartered accountancy student. So chartered accountancy by its very nature is a self-study course. You have to prepare from home, go to tuitions, and that's all. So your college life and social life becomes a little restricted if you're not proactive and take chances. And to make things work, I flunked my CA exams. So it's it's okay because CA exams are anyways tough. But now I can say that it is okay. But during that time, at a young and impressionable age, it did got to me. I remember the day I failed my intermediate and my father came in my room and I wept into tears. I burst into tears in his arms. But he was very kind and he said, okay. So from that point onwards, I gave a couple of attempts, but maybe I'm numerically challenged and maybe that was fate. But I moved on. I created my opportunities. But during those times of distress, I used to feel that life has come at a standstill. I used to feel that there is no looking forward, which is what many students feel these days, because life has become very competitive. It has become very, you know, you have to be at your best all the time. Average is not acceptable sometimes. So now looking back, I think life has a plan for all of us. You have to keep moving. You have to take leap of faith, maybe change cities as I did, maybe change your course as I did. And if nothing works, God has a plan for you. Because I was a CA student, but I've ended up with a good career in legal journalism. For that, I have no specialized training, thanks to my course, which was law, which is a multidisciplinary course. So life has a plan for all of us. You have to just keep moving with a leap of faith and keep moving ahead. Thank you. Did I make sense?
Well done, Cassandra. Well
I did
done.
not prepare anything, so I just wanted to speak from whatever was coming on my mind. I hope I made sense. I mean,
Yes, you were coherent and we were able to follow along. Well done. Well done. Okay, Toastmasters.
I tried word picture also, that I burst into tears in my father's arms and all that, but I hope it worked. I don't know. I am looking for the feedback.
We will have that feedback for you in the next 5 minutes. Toastmasters,
Thank
we
you.
break so that the evaluators can prepare their evaluation, and then we'll return with the evaluations. Welcome back, Toastmasters. We now go into the third portion of our meeting, the evaluation portion. This is where we find out what we did well and where we can improve. The evaluations are shared so that we can all learn from each other. We can take up tidbits that we can use from one presentation's evaluation, incorporate it into our next presentation so that we can also grow. To get the evaluation started, I will be doing Toastmasters Angela's evaluation. Toastmaster Angela presentation, use your best business English. The purpose of this project was for Toastmaster Angela to practice developing and presenting longer speeches. The Toastmaster Angela was to deliver an engaging keynote style speech. The speech may be humorous, informational, or any style the member chose. Toastmaster Angela hit the nail on the head. This was humorous and informational. I learned several things that I will be incorporating into my speech pattern. I will be practicing my pronunciations of tongues so that people know I'm not speaking about a tongue. Thank you, Toastmaster Angela. Toastmaster Angela, you excel at storytelling. I can see why you are a published author. Your stories were vivid and I was able to follow along. I was so engrossed with your presentation that I lost track of the time, although I was the timer. It was thoroughly engaging, humorous, and informational. You engaged your audience. You asked your audience questions. You kept them engaged in your presentation. I commend you on that. And your facial gestures were brilliant. Your facial gestures had us engaged and entertained. I commend you on that. Your storytelling, your use of humor, engaging the audience, and your facial gestures. Brilliantly done. What I would like you to work on, Toastmaster Angela, is your transition from story to story. There were several stories in your presentation, and you gave the premise of the story, the lesson to be taken away at the very end of the story. You went into the story, and then at the end, you said, oh, if I only knew how to speak another language, I would have been able to explain to the little girl that I was lost and I needed to find my group. If you had started with, if you know how to articulate yourself in another language, you will not be lost and stranded. For example, I went on a trip, I got separated from my group, and there was only a little girl at the bottom of the hill who wanted to sell me postcards. If we know what story is about prior, it gives more value to us. Oh, yes, I can relate to that. I too, when I went to a trip to Guatemala, if I were more fluent in Spanish, I would have been able to stay in I would have been able to purchase better gifts for my friends when I got back home. So if we know what the story is about prior to the story, it will be of more value. So give the premise first and then the story. That is what I would like you to work on. What I will challenge you on is to incorporate a PowerPoint presentation into your address. The way you did this presentation was brilliant. I loved it. I did not notice that there wasn't any PowerPoint presentation in this presentation. And that's how well you did it. But if you could have incorporated a PowerPoint presentation into your presentation, it would have given it a little bit more. So yes, it would have put it over the top if it had a PowerPoint presentation in there. However, the manner in which you delivered the presentation was brilliant. The stories we were all able to relate to, the use of humor, you engaged us, you asked us questions. What atom is in English? Do we know the difference between pants and trousers? That was entertaining. Someone walking around with wet underwear when they met trousers. Yes, that was quite entertaining. So all in all, Toastmaster Angela, this presentation was on point. I commend you on a job well done. For English, for spoken language, clear and easily understood, I scored you at a 5. Vocal variety, use of tone, speed, and value, again, 5. Eye contact, use of eye contact to engage audience, I scored you at a 5. Gestures, I loved your facial gestures. When you were breaking down in tears, when you were excited, I was right there with you. I scored you at a 5 there as well. Audience awareness, demonstrate audience awareness of audience and engagement and needs. Yes, scored you at a 5. Comfort level, appeared comfortable with audience. Yes, I did not detect any nervousness on your part. You were confident, so I scored you at a 5 as well. Interest, engage audience with interested, well-constructed content. Again, a 5. Loved it. It It was well organized. We could have followed from the start to finish. Excellent job. Speech content. Content is compelling enough to hold audience attention throughout speech. I would have scored you at a 10. It was so good, I lost track of time and I was the timer. Excellent job. Angela, I scored you at 5 for all the points in this presentation. An excellent job. A round of applause for Toastmaster Angela. Yes. And now we will be doing the evaluation of Toastmaster Cassandra. Toastmaster Angela, are you ready?
Just looking for my notes. Where have they gone? Yes, I'm ready.
The floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, Krishnendra, that was a wonderful speech. It's made progress and it's excellent. You did brilliantly. You had a message, although it was a very early on in your Toastmasters career, you've already got to the kind of keynote speech and motivational speech with an encouraging speech that has a message for everybody. I was very impressed with your language, your vocabulary. You used metaphors like light at the end of the tunnel. You used all sorts of language, such as a restricted social life, a self-study course, the word mundane, and a happening childhood, and another image of the roller coaster. I liked your visual description of your father coming into the room and hugging you. Now, and you ended up, you had 2 very good pieces of advice for the audience. One was to change your country and the other was to change your course. So 2 practical things as well as the hopeful message that life has a plan. Now, what can we do to enhance this and make it even better? I've often heard it said that you have a villain and you have a hero and a villain in a story, and that you have a repeated message in a story. What can we do? Your father says, okay, why don't we go one step further and have your father tell you that what you should do is change your country and change your course. I didn't work out what the country was.
I said city, I think. I changed the city.
What was the city?
Delhi, from Indore to Delhi.
Yes, I wasn't quite sure why it was so dull. Where had you been to as a child that was more interesting?
I've been to the mountains. I've been I visited many places, no? So that was more exciting. College life was a bit static in that sense. No traveling and only studies.
So you stayed in one place for how
Yeah.
long? 3 years?
For I think from 2009 to 2018. 9 years.
Ah, for 9 years. Gosh.
Yeah.
So for 9 years you hadn't moved.
No.
Make the childhood more visual. You went to the mountains. Where are the mountains?
So I was born in Ranchi. It's a place in Bihar, Bihar in India, and I completed my schooling in Himachal Pradesh. That is Himalayas. Near
Okay.
if you have heard
So the
of
Himalayas, people will understand that. Okay.
Yes. If you have heard of Shimla as a hill station, it's near
Yes.
that.
You went to the Himalayas, you went to the hill station. Then in Delhi, why was it dull? You sat in a room with no pictures. you looked out on a street with cars. Show us why it was dull. I mean, to most of us, going to Delhi would be most exciting. So we want to know why it was dull.
No, Delhi was exciting. Staying at indoor where nothing was happening was dull. It was repetitive and only studying from a room and interacting with people. So
Right.
that was dull.
So you sat in your room studying all day long. That will
Yeah.
do it. Okay. So then when we get to law, you haven't quite shown us what we could do to change country and to change course. How did you change country? I still don't know which country you changed to. You went.
I changed city again. I changed Indore to Delhi. I was doing a diploma course, so I volunteered to work with them, and that's how I changed the course.
Right. So
for the first 3 months, I worked for free, like without any, on my own. For no salary. Then I got the job and I worked there for 1 year, and then I got another opportunity in the pandemic. So that's how.
Okay. So I would like to know, I would like you to tell everybody how you changed your country and how you changed your course. In other words, how we could do it possibly differently. So what do we do? Do we pick a pin and go into a map? Or do we investigate places that run courses? Do we pick a course and then find countries that have the best courses? What do we do? Or do we go to, hold on.
You have to be practical on what is working for you. So I was doing this course. I had access to the right people who had studied in National Law School, who were preparing students for careers. So I was in touch with them. So I took that opportunity to voluntarily work for free for first 3 months to learn the ropes, and then I got the job also. So you have to be strategic in that way. You just can't, pin it on the map that I will choose this city and I'll figure out something. It does not work like that.
So you might have to start at the bottom and work your way up.
Yeah.
So that's what the message is. Now, the next question is, how is being in law better? Is it better paid? Is it make you happy? And does it make you proud to tell people what you do? Did you go to a career advisor or did you ask all your friends what to do? So who is it who gave you the advice? Now, when you said average is not acceptable, I thought that was a very good point. That people say that. So make it personal. So maybe your mother or a teacher or a girlfriend or a roommate says to you, average is not acceptable. Or maybe you're online and you're chatting up a girl and you say, I'm an accountant. And she says, oh, are you successful? And you say, no, I failed my exams and I'm pretty average. And she says, oh, average is not acceptable. And then in the end, you go back to the same girl and you say, I'm a lawyer and I'm very well paid. And she says, really? So folks, you can turn your life around. So make it visual, personal, people who are pulling you and pushing you, and you change and make conversations, and then you can stand aside. I said to my father, I'm so upset, I failed my exams. My father said, change direction. You went that way, didn't work, go the other way, or something like that.
Yeah, my okay was a little abrupt. It was a nice setup, but the okay, my father said okay was a little abrupt. It could have been a little polished.
Yes. So make it more of a backward forward conversation. And then I'm the queen of props. There must be I don't know what kind of lawyer you are. I remember I went out with a lawyer and he put on his wig.
I'm not lawyering.
Show a picture of a court. My dream was to be a lawyer or something. I never made that, but I am a well-paid solicitor. Or anything you like, just have a picture. Or have a picture of Delhi and then an arrow showing where you went from this city to that city. Or you could show, you looked at a map and the arrows went north, south, east, and west. You chose that way, but folks, the world is yours. You can go north, south, east, or west. You make the choice. So whether you choose a map or a photo, have something that I can remember. I coached one girl and I saw one person, they picked up a piece of paper and they tore it in half. So you could say you picked up the piece of paper that said you had failed. So you pick up a waste bin and you put the announcement in the waste bin. Put it aside. That's the past. My failure is in the past. Anything that makes it visual so that a year later people remember, or this is my father and here he is hugging me when I passed my second exam. Here he is when I failed my first exam. Here he is. This is my father. My father's smiling even when I failed my exam. And now he's smiling even more. But he's still the same father and I'm still the same son. Whatever any picture you've got can be used to illustrate the point. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day. Not seeing any lights that tell me my 2 minutes is up.
That was a very comprehensive feedback. I'm so grateful. Next week, I would like to give a speech. I'll prepare. So the pointers that I wrote is I'll share with you. It will just take 2 minutes. I'm very critical of myself. So I did well on structuring my thoughts in terms of impromptu speaking. I was coherent and comfortable. What I could do better, I need to prepare beforehand to give a smoother presentation, more impactful and engaging opening, better use of storytelling, vocal variety. And I repeated a line as a filler line before moving on to the next thought. I don't know if you guys caught it or not. A better closing. So the challenge I have written is use hand gestures, tonal variety, and making eye contact. And that's all.
Super duper. Excellent. Oh, we can't hear you, Mike.
Mike, you're on mute.
That's a great evaluation of yourself, Cassandra. That's a great evaluation of yourself. You highlighted several of the things that I would have pointed out. Excellent job. Excellent job.
If you can just quickly sum up your evaluation of me, that would be great.
My evaluation of you?
Yeah, just in 2-3 lines, if you can quickly sum
Sure.
up.
Yeah, I love that you had a team in this evaluation. I love that that is always key for a presentation. I would love for you to incorporate more storytelling and develop your points a little bit more. When you said it was dull, why was it dull? Things to that effect. And in your summary, I want you to conclude with a message, a call to action. That is mainly what I would have added to the evaluation you did of yourself, right?
So
Just,
that's a great point. Now coming to contextualizing, how much is too much? Like you were saying that give a context, like why was something dull? We don't want to indulge in one line of thought for too long because it
Correct.
may get boring for the audience. So
Correct. It was
where to draw a
dull.
line? Yeah.
It was dull because it was monotonous. I had the same routine day in, day out.
Just 2-3 lines and then move on to the next
Correct.
line of thought.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Right? You don't have to devote a paragraph to it. I did the same thing over and over repetitively. I got up, I went to school, I studied, I went to sleep, I got up, I went to school, I studied. It was dull. Right? So that was basically it. But all in all, you did an excellent job, and I look forward to your next presentation. I will be sharing the project outline and the evaluation for your next project with you,
Yeah,
so that you can.
next week I would like to prepare because that is when I would be in a better place to judge myself. Now, because in these circumstances, I can give myself brownie points for speaking impromptu, but that might not be correct also to some extent.
Yes. Yes, it's best when you do the manual presentation to prepare beforehand. I have shared the evaluation. I have shared the evaluation for your next presentation in the chat. So you can work towards that for your next presentation. Our final evaluation today was to be of Mike's presentation. And for Mike, I would advise Mike to work on his ahs and ums in his presentation and to use more vocal variety. I love that he went from the young lady living in the US and choosing to represent her homeland in his presentation and all the obstacles he overcame. However, the ahs and ums in his presentation were a bit distracted. I love that it had a theme, overcoming obstacles to achieve your goal. It had a theme, but the ahs and ums is what I would encourage Mike to work on. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, we are at the end of our program today. Today's theme was first impression. How often do you present the best version of yourself when you meet someone? Are you always smiling? Do you give off the impression that you must be the center of attention? Or are you willing to listen to new individuals that you meet? Do you share too much of yourself up front? Do you expect too much of someone you just met? These are the things we must consider when we make our first impression. When you make your first impression, put your best foot forward. Always be smiling and courteous. Always be willing to listen and learn from others. That is how you make an impactful first impression. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, thank you for another brilliant meeting. Enjoy your weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next week.